Hello everybody, welcome to part 4 of my guide of painting Blood and Plunder European Soldiers by Firelock Games. Our model so far, we've done the base, we've done the skin, the eyes, the stockings. Now we're going to move on to the trousers or breeches. Now for this particular one, I'm going a bit outlandish with my paint scheme. It's not like unhistorical, but a bit brighter than I often tend to go. I'm going to start with a Army Painter Crystal Blue. This is inspired by another set of models I've done recently, and the outcome, the result was really striking, so I'm going to do that. So I'm going to start with a base coat. Now again, with these, I'm doing the kind of the old traditional base coat wash highlight method, which works really well on Firelock models because the way they're sculpted, they take ink very well. So it's a very effective method. You get a nice result. I know a lot of people use just the kind of base coat and wash method on Firelock stuff, and it looks great. It looks you get a good tabletop standard just by doing that. So by going that once the extra step by adding the highlight. I mean, I'll tend to do a 2-stage highlight, because I tend to do a lot of my stuff, so it's good for photos as well as tabletop, and that's kind of how I paint. I'll be doing that today. So we're almost done here. As you can see, I'm not being as slapdash as I was with the skin, because now that I've got finished painted areas, I don't accidentally paint over those stockings I've already done, because why do work twice if you don't have to? So just taking a little bit extra care now, just get under his jacket there. And there we go. So there's the base coat done. Whoop. Let's not just get the light in there. So again, he's got these little ribbons around the base of his breeches, which I'm gonna do red. Spoiler alert. But yep, I'm gonna leave that to dry, and when we come back, I'll start the washing process. Okay, see you soon. He won't focus. There we go. See you soon. Okay, base coat's all dry, so now it's time to apply the wash. Now, like I said before, I'm pretty much just using Citadel and Army Painter washes. So I'm going to be using the Citadel Blue, Azerman Blue. I don't know what it's called these days because I've still got plenty of this left, so I'm going to use this. So just straight out the pot, and just giving a pretty generous washing over of it. Make sure you fill those beautiful creases, which the Firelock models are famous for. Well, I say famous for, they're famous for being historically accurate but interesting. But also, from a painter point of view, these creases are wonderful, which you'll see when we come on to be painting things like the jacket. How nice they genuinely are a pleasure to paint these models. So, very quick steps. There we go. As you can see, we'll just get a bit more light in there. As you can see, it just sits, there we go. It just sits wonderfully in those creases. And like I said, if you're going for a high tabletop standard, you've got it right there. But I'm just gonna add some highlights to it in the next step and make it pop. But I've got the rest of a unit to do, so I'm gonna go do that, and hopefully by then this ink coat will be dry. So see you soon. Okay, wash is dry. As you can see, it's come out rather nice. I mean, that looks great just on its own, but I just want to give it a little bit more pop. Just well, just for a little bit more presence on the tabletop. So I'm going to start throwing some color theory at you just now, some color wheel theory, because I'm going back to my original base coat, my crystal blue. I've got my white, which I'm going obviously to lighten it. I've got my lamy in my paint medium, just to thin it so it doesn't look too clumpy. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a bit of color wheel theory, because the risk of just putting the blue in, the white in together, is you end up with a bit of a chalky finish. And I want to pop that a little bit. So I'm actually going to do is add a tiny bit of purple as the next warm color after the blue. So hope that looks okay. Yeah, it doesn't look too bad. So just gonna start with a splash of blue. I'm gonna put in the white next to it. The reason I'm doing this, I'm going to do a 2-stage highlight, so I want to be able to introduce the white as it comes. So I'm just going to take that off the brush, just give that a mix in. So as you can see, that's lightning. There we go. It's lightning slowly because I haven't added the medium yet. So there at the end. That looks okay. What I'm going to do, I'm actually going to add a tiny, not a tiny spot of purple to it. So that's just going to go in. And it just, there we go. It just brings that color alive. You know, it just kind of gets rid of chalkiness. It's a nice lively color in there, which you can see. So when I put this on, it's not gonna look like it's just faded. So that's my bit of color wheel theory. There you go. I'm being all academic, and my next piece of advice is, well, it's pretty darn obvious, but I'm gonna say it anyway. I'm just gonna take the palette out of the way so the color adjust on the camera goes back to normal. There we go, and you can see that again. My advice is, let the model actually tell you where the highlights need to be. Look where the light's falling, and then just, well, accentuate that, and it will give you a nice realistic highlight. So obviously when you do an ink wash on it, that does help tremendously, because it enhances those creases, and it does it naturally. So if you just start to paint where the ink ain't, you know what I've forgotten to do was to add the lime in the medium, which is why it's coming out a little bit chunky. It's not too bad, but It's not as good as I would like. So I will mix it in now. And there we go. I've gone away with it pretty much because the coat d'arms white is quite thin. So it's go away with it. Oh, that's what I'm talking about now. So let's just. So there you go. There's an on-screen gaff. But because I'm an honest sort, I'm not going to do anything, and no doubt Kev will leave it in because he knows I'm an honest sort, and if I made a mistake, I will admit it, and that was a mistake. But hey ho, it looks like I've got away with it. So there's my first step done. Now what I'm going to do is add a little bit more of that white to the palette. Not a lot, just enough to give it a crisp edge. So here we go. Just add a little bit of curvature. Just picking up the very little fine highlights, just on the edges of creases. Just helps round them off a bit. Oh, there we go. Brush didn't want to get in there. So like you can see, just picking up those little edges. Just enough to round it off. And I think we're good there. Yep. So there we go. All done. I just added that little bit. But you can see how it went on. Even though you can't see the purple, you can see how it makes the blue that bit more vibrant. So that's it for that. There's highlighting and a bit of color theory for you. Who says we're not value for money on Rage Against the Dice? Anyway, thank you for joining me with part 4. I'll be back next week with part 5, where I will be doing the coats. Until then, have fun painting. Bye bye.